If a person is arguing from a point that has no rational support, then it's owing to a desire to want to go that way. And maybe it's to justify or rationalize some deep sin. Or maybe their heart's been so deeply wounded, and the way they've gotten by in order to manage the labyrinth of those wounds is they've come up with a fictionalized understanding of reality. I believe that no matter how skewed a person's understanding of reality is, if they reach to turn on the light switch, they at least have enough understanding of an objective reality that exists independent of them, regardless of how they have rationalized any moral truth. That's right. And so consequently, how do I get to that? Well, there's a bunch of ways. One, if they're masking deep woundedness, I'm not going to win them by an argument. I want to find out why they're so wounded. Tell me about that. Tell me, what is it in this for you that you need to have it be that way? And it's not long before they'll start unmasking deep-seated sadness, some wound, something that happened to them. And you get to say to them, you know, I think if Jesus were here, he would say to you, I would never have done that to you. I love you. And I think we want to get them to that place. You can only help them to untether if you can help them to grieve and forgive the person who hurt them. So you've got to go that way. It's more of a psychological approach, but it's an important one that we should be sensitive to. So sometimes it could be that they lived in a culture that has so misled them that they bought hook, line, and sinker the falsehoods of that culture. Then what we need to do is see if we can develop a friendship with them so that they trust us, and we can engage out of that trust in a conversation that allows us to ask them if they could define their terms. We can tell them, you know, there are rules to the game of reason, like there are rules to the game of chess. Knowing the rules doesn't guarantee you win every time you sit down to play the game, but not knowing the rules makes the game impossible. Let's see if we could come up with some agreed upon rules as we engage in this discussion over the next several months. And as you get to definition and begin to move from definition to inferences that are consistent and coherent with the definition, and you come to conclusions, sometimes their eyes will be open and they'll see. I've seen this happen many times. So I think you have to begin at those places and also pray, because sometimes what's lodged in them will only be dislodged by prayer. Jesus even told his disciples of those who are demon-possessed, sometimes these things are never gotten rid of without prayer and fasting. So pray for the person, and let God also trust that God is also more in love with that person than you are. And he's willing to enter into the world, the cacophony of their world, just like Christ entered into the cacophony of our world in the incarnation. And I think you can begin there and go from there. Does that help a little bit to get you started anyway? The message itself, once you get to it, is not changed. But find out where the message can Velcro to this person and where they can discover the God who loves them and the God who forgives them. I hope that's helpful a little bit. And we got one over.